Wolfram's 4-color theorem for relationship mapping, posted by Goblinge, posted to the Goblin's Henchman blog. I was listening to Ray Otis's podcast, which I like. He was talking about Wolfram's 4-color theorem, which states, perhaps paraphrased, as any map in a plane can be colored using 4 colors in such a way that regions sharing a common boundary other than a single point do not share the same color. I wonder if this could be used to map out relationships where each color represents a certain intensity in that relationship from high to low. The idea being to design a relationship map that is random, but with some design to it. Let's try it out. Example 1, D&D starting characters using Wolfram's 4-color theorem. Maybe this design concept could be applied to D&D stats where certain stats tend to go together. Rules. 1. Populate a 7 hex flower with each stat and 1 for wealth. So strength, int, whiz, dex, con, charisma, and wealth. Using up to 4 pencil colors, outline the hexes using Wolfram's 4-color theorem, starting from the middle. Randomly assign each color a different value from 1 to 4 using a d4 where 1 equals low, 2 equals medium low, 3 equals medium high, 4 equals high. Okay, I'll have to see this. So we're starting out with a blank hex flower. All right, populate the hex flower with 6 stats and wealth. So they put wealth in the middle, and then all the other stats are arrayed around it. Now we're going to color according to the theorem so that you only have 4 colors. So we have kind of a salmon pink, a lime green, what would that be? A maize yellow, and the sky blue. And we don't have any 2 that are near each other. Each color comes out twice, but none of them are touching. Terrence asks, is Ray Otis related to Arrow? I have no idea. I want to say we're on a Discord, kind of a podcasting Discord. I should ask him. I don't know. Step 3, we're going to randomly assign each color a different value from 1 to 4. Okay, red is 2, orange is 4, green is 1, blue, and then they've translated this into pluses and minuses. So strength ++, constitution ++, wealth 1-, green 2 minuses, blue 2 pluses. So this is for a particular PC. Okay, so the new PC is strong and tough, quite wise and personable, clumsy and dumb, and has modest wealth. So perhaps a fighter then from a poor background. I guess what the suggestion kind of is here that you could use this to visualize the character. So this character has, with the colors, very strong constitution and strength, not very wealthy, not very wise, not very nimble or knowledgeable, and then somewhat wise and charismatic. Now they're going to try it again, but with fewer colors, more of a go for broke min-max arrangement. Restyling. Okay, so this one they took away one of the colors and just you're either really good or really bad. So this new one, right, high in smarts, high in wisdom, or high in knowledge, high in wisdom, high in charisma, moderately wealthy, extremely weak, extremely not nimble, and frail. These kind of things are interesting, and it seems like a cool way to visualize your character. I'd be wondering if there would be a way to leverage that system. If I was going to a table, right, and I was going to say, okay, we're not going to worry about the numbers. We're going to use this. We're going to use this kind of excellent, good, average, or moderate, and then poor thing. Then you could have multiple of these kind of hex flowers. You could almost get them out. You could even have them randomly that have the pluses and minuses kind of worked in there. And then people could write in what they wanted. So you could look at this one and you can say, oh, this is the min-maxy one. Okay, I'm going to min-max. Or, oh, this is the one where everything's kind of decent. Or, oh, this is the other one that has whatever. So it seems kind of interesting. I could see that in playing in a physical game, if somebody had this way of visualizing your stats, it might be more once you kind of get over the learning, or for someone who is not into or is new to the game and doesn't care anything or any knowledge about the 3 to 18s or rolling the dice. You could do that instead. This one I'm more interested in, which is using this for random NPC personality. The rules are we're going to populate the 7 hex flower with a personality trait. 1 from each group. You can make your own traits. 2, we're going to use 4 pencils to color outline the hexes using the 4-color theorem, starting from the middle. And then we're going to randomly assign each color a different value from 1 to 4 using a d4 where 1 equals basically low to high. We have low, medium, high, and high. So there's no absolute medium. Now the traits they're using here is wealth, resources, influence, status, reputation, level, cynical, duplicity, prejudice, personable, warmth, empathic, wit, intelligent, charming, greed, selfish, evil, desperate, needs, desire. And now they're going to see 2 examples, see how this works out. Start with a blank hex flower. We're going to populate it with 7 stats. So we get wit, wealth, duplicity, warmth, greed, status, and desire. And then we color them, all 4 colors. And now we can randomly assign those point values. So red is super strong. Orange is moderately strong, green is moderately weak, and blue is very weak. And then we get something like this. So someone who is not duplicitous at all, but they're not very warm, they're not very witty, they don't have a lot of status, they're a bit greedy, and they're a bit wealthy, but really they have needs. They got needs that they need to fulfill. And then here's another one where they've done the kind of approach. Initial conclusions, I think you could try and set this up so colored pairs go together, perhaps wealth and status, greed and duplicity, wit. That said, I wonder if we should scrap the middle hex and insist that 4 colors must be used to introduce less homogeneity. Perhaps. Is this useful? Not sure. Just brainstorming. Perhaps if you're planning a session and want some inspiration about an NPC or have a bunch of templates ready to pull out of a hat, I think it's interesting. I'm not sure how I could use it, but different ways of visualizing stuff is always cool. But yeah, I don't know immediately what I would do with it, but it is interesting. I kind of like the system of leaving the patterns with the pluses and minuses in there and then blanking the names and just you can write in your own names, or alternatively, in some stuff where it's fixed, where you can have for something like the attributes, if you wanted to say, 2 things can't have the same number, right? And so you put the kind of things that are naturally across. So you might have con and strength across from each other, maybe wisdom and dex across from each other, and then con and charisma across from each other. So you have some interesting ideas of what you could, or maybe wealth and charisma. Ian says, I read through this earlier and I don't understand the purpose of using a hex flower. Can't you just give the values colors and roll? The examples here don't correspond to hex position. I think it's kind of this concept of mapping it. So we're kind of using a mapping analogy. So you want to kind of have something as opposed to rolling die. I mean, yeah, there's a multiplicity of ways you could do it. Why they picked a hex flower as opposed to some other way, I'm not sure. I think it's the concept of having neighbors and having the elements where no 4 can touch each other. This kind of works for that with the way the colors are. It doesn't necessarily require a hex flower, but then everyone loves hex flowers too. And I can't argue against hex flowers. It's hexes are in my name. It's part of my nature. Now, nothing says conceptually, it's interesting that there's no average in the system. Everything is either plus, 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 minus, or minus, minus. Nothing with no plus or minus. Yep, you could definitely even add that in, right? I think that's the one problem with using 4. Is the spread on a 4, right? You don't have that middle value like you do with an odd number. If you have 5, suddenly you have 2 on one side, then you have a middle, and then you have 2 on the other side. But with an even number, since it's going to divide evenly, if you want to have the same number of positive and negatives, you lose the middle, Oh well. And how you might do that with this kind of system is you have one extra option. So maybe you have wealth and you have one other one. And then when you have to choose to either be a zilch, which is just completely average, or a positive or negative. Or as Ian says, arguably average isn't useful. That could be too. Cool. That was nice.